whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, my name is Luis, and we have Soham right here, and here's everybody else. And we're going to teach you how to present, because you know, presentations, they're all over the world. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Alright, so it's really important to have good body language and good tone. You know, you don't want to be nervous, you don't want a monotone voice, you know.
And you also want to have good posture, such as no slouching, arms crossed, hands in your pocket. You always want to face the audience when you speak. You don't forget about that. And you also don't want to read directly off the slide.
Okay guys, so don't worry, that's not our presentation. As you all know, we've gone over a lot of how to present in class, and today we're going to do it just a little bit more, because when you get up and you do your team presentations, or you go up and give an important presentation to your boss, you don't want to look like Luis and Soham just did. You want to be knowledgeable, well-prepared, confident, and we hope that presentations with Panache, the sequel, will help you do so. So first off, Justinia's going to tell us how to develop a presentation. All right, thank you.
First of all, what you want to do is you want to research your audience. You want to know who they are. You want to know what are their needs, what are their interests, and what are their concerns. And one of the ways to do this is by reaching out to them. For example, before your presentation, you can send out a questionnaire. You know, UTD has a lot of guest speakers that come over, and in order to register for those events, you have to go on Handshake. So if your event's posted online, you can post a little survey to go with it. But if you don't have the means to do that, you can simply ask questions at the beginning of your presentation. And then based on that, you can tailor your presentation to target your audience needs. You can tailor it and you can focus on what they really want. Now, the old-fashioned way to structure a presentation is that you tell your audience what you're going to say, then you say it, and then you summarize. But here's a better way. What you do is that you list the benefits of your content, and then you list the ways that the audience is going to directly benefit from it, and then you present. Alright, for your opening, what you're going to want to do is that you want to grab the attention of your audience using an emotional connection, using a story, or some other means. If you're going to do a story, you want to make sure that the characters in your story directly relate to your audience. For your body, you want a maximum of 3 points to focus on. And of course, that means you're not going to fit everything into your body. But the thing is that if you miss something, it's likely to come up in a question later on. So you still want to be well-rounded in your topic. And you're also going to want to list some pros and cons, because that gives credibility to your statement. Also, whenever you're presenting these, you're likely to pitch an idea to a client or to your department or to your boss. And if you listen to the negative aspects of your ideas, they're more likely to listen to you. For your closing, you can either come full circle and list things that you said at the beginning of your presentation, or you can give a call to action. Either way, you still want to end on a positive note, so your audience is more likely to see the benefits of your argument and more likely to listen to you. And now, Melissa's going to tell us how to practice for your presentation.
Okay, so you have just spent a whole bunch of time developing a really great presentation. So your next step is to practice it. And that doesn't mean just going over it once the day of, because you're not going to get the results that you want. Instead, you need to make sure that you go over it as many times as possible for at least a week leading up to the presentation. That way, when you get down to it, you're super confident in what you're saying and you're very comfortable with the material. So while you're practicing, you can either practice in front of the mirror, or maybe if you're nervous about speaking in front of a group of people, it could help if you talk to a small group of friends or your family, because really a presentation is just a one-sided conversation, and that's something that we're all already comfortable with. So, in addition to that, while you are practicing, you don't want to memorize exactly what you're going to say, because lots of things can happen during your presentation, and like if you get distracted and forget one word from your speech, then you could be completely thrown off and not know how to continue, and that's not something that you want when you're in the middle of an important presentation. And then on top of that, people who rehearse by only memorizing things come off as robotic, and nobody wants to listen to a robot. So, yeah, just know what you're talking about, and it'll all be okay. One last tip is that if you record yourself and play it back, that could help, because a lot of times you might be doing small, awkward things that you're not aware of, and the camera will pick up on that and tell you, hey, like, take your hands out of your pockets, or don't snap your fingers while you talk. I don't know why you do that, but okay. So next, we're going to have Zoe talk about how to deliver.
tone. If you've ever heard your mother say, watch your tone, you know that it's very important to consider this both in real life and in the professional world. In fact, I remember once when I was in 3rd grade, I had a professor a teacher, and she was very happy all the time. She was the brightest person I knew. And one day we got to the topic that was very morbid. We were talking about a war. And in the happiest tone she had, she said, and thousands died in this terrible war, and everyone watched in horror. So, if you want to avoid this strange contrast that will confuse your audience, you want to make sure that you match your tone with your topic. So make sure you know your topic very well before you start speaking about it. Another important thing is body language. Yes. With body language, you want to appear confident and like you know what you're talking about. For instance, pretend you're balancing a book on top of your head. Make sure your back is straight and that you're very proper and professional when you're speaking. Moreover, if you've ever heard the words, fake it till you make it, you know that you need to make sure, even if you're nervous, that you hide that behind a confident exterior. Now we will go to Soham with PowerPoints.
Alright, so let's talk about PowerPoint. The purpose of PowerPoint is to serve as a visual aid. This means you don't want the PowerPoint to summarize, but you want it to enhance the presentation. And PowerPoint should be entertaining and engaging. And a great way of achieving this is by adding images. PowerPoints rely on images to bring life to the presentation. And though there's one scenario where it wouldn't be appropriate is if you put your company logo on each slide. This isn't necessary because your audience remembers what company you work for. When it comes to size, the two most important things to remember is to make sure your font is readable and to not put too much information. For your font, usually around a 30 size font should be fine, depending on like what font you use. And for not putting too much information, the phrase less is more is a good way of remembering it. Now I want to go to Luis. He's going to talk about questions.
Thank you, Swan. So, the next element of presentations is questions. How do you prepare for questions when someone asks you from your audience? Well, first, you prepare yourself even before the presentation. You think of some questions some people may ask you that they may be unsure from your presentation, which they shouldn't, because you should have a good presentation. The other thing, when they aren't asking the question, listen carefully. That way you can identify what's being asked and you don't go off topic. While responding, you have 3 options to answer. You could tie it back to your presentation with a direct answer, or if the question is unclear, you can ask for clarification, because the person asking the question is nervous as well. They're a human being, because they're on the spotlight, just like the presenter. Or if the question is too hard or off topic, you can ask the person asking the question to meet you afterwards that you do not have enough information to answer the question at the moment, but you can get back to them. And do we have any questions? No questions? Okay. Here you go, Louis.
Alright, so now you've been sitting through this very long presentation, probably wondering, why does this matter? Why are we just listening to this person talk for the next 8 minutes? Well, presentation skills are a very powerful skill to have. You can move people and convince them to go to a call to action. With this tool, you can make a change in the world. So, now that you know why this is important, go home, practice your presentation skills. Think about how you can improve and how you can get your audience to listen to you. And then you'll have a very good professional and a very good life ahead of you. All right, thank you. And again, if you have any questions, you can always meet us after class.